Hello, and welcome back to Solo Strategic Playthroughs, where once again I am playing Terraforming Mars against the Automa. This is a rematch of sorts, as I did not beat the Automa my last play using Colonies, so once again I'm going to use the Colonies expansion, as well as Prelude with drafting, corporation, and I'm playing on hard mode. So I definitely would have won the game if I had not played on hard mode because it got a whole bunch of extra victory points. But I'll be paying attention to that this time. I am playing on a new map. I wanted to give Terra Cimmeria a try. So we will get right into it by looking at corporations. All right, so the corporation I've decided to go with is the Tharsis Republic. Again, I dealt myself 3 corporations at random, 6 preludes, 10 cards, looked through everything, and made my decisions. Tharsis Republic gives me a solid 40 income, and it's going to be giving me income boost for cities. The Automa likes to play a lot of cities, so throughout the game I should definitely be able to get some benefit off from there. It also lets me play a tile on the map right at the start, which I'll get into as I kind of go through my strategy. But just quickly to take a look at the ones that I did not choose. One of these days I'm going to try Pharmacy Union, but it's not going to be today. Didn't get any cards with microbes in my opening draw, and only one card with a science tag, which I don't really want to play. So, not taking this one. Definitely considering Robinson Industries because that ability to get production every generation, so once per generation, you can spend 4 to increase your lowest production. Would be really helpful for one of the awards, but ultimately, the other corporation won out, and you'll see why as we get into it. The first prelude I chose is Research Network, and again, I'll go through all 6, but I'm going to start with the 2 that I picked. Drawing the cards is nice, the income, but the main thing here is the wild tag. Because looking at the milestones, and this is really the first thing you need to consider when playing against the Automa, is which milestones can you get to and how quickly. Really can be the difference in the game, especially if you can manage to pull off all 3. And if you don't get at least 2 and you're playing on hard mode, I don't think you have any chance of winning. There's one here where I need 5 plant tags. I need 5 planet tags. Not playing with Venus, but Earth and Jovian still count, and the wild does count for milestones. So I actually only need to pick up 4, as well as another one that is looking at city tags. I'd only need to get 2 of those into play. So and there's some other advantages to, of course, to having the wild tag for when certain cards come into play. Will not factor into awards, so it doesn't help me for there, but definitely with the milestones. So that was a no-brainer for me. For my second prelude, I went back and forth quite a bit. There were actually 2 I was looking at. Both gave me a power tag, which is going to help possibly for the end game, and both gave me 2 energy production, which is really great when you're playing with colonies. You want to get up to that 3 energy production as soon as possible so that you can use energy to activate your trade fleets. I did not choose this one, though I do like, getting the nice instant boost of the 4 steel is pretty good, but instead I went with this one. And that is the Aquafire Turbines. This one, I get a lake. It does cost me 3 to put into play, but I can put the lake over here on top of 2 titanium, so it's effectively giving me +3, whereas with the steel, the other one would give me +8. But this one, playing 9 or 10 generations, I'm going to have extra income throughout. So in the long run, I think it's going to be a little bit better. Of course, having the lake in play is going to give me a kickstart to potentially work on this milestone where I need to have 4 tiles touching lakes. So, of course, it also does give a target for Marsbot, but not a particularly juicy one. So I wouldn't be terribly sad if Marsbot decided to go there, and it'll be playing its own lake soon enough. Just quickly running through the rest, I definitely consider the plant tag, especially with this milestone, which wants me to have plant production, but I didn't have any plant production in my opening draw, so I don't think I'm going to get there. Did not choose this one, which has to do with floaters, and not really a factor in this game. Again, looking at my starting hand, my corporation, what goes well with it, here's another one, energy and steel production. I'd rather have the double energy production and that wild tag. So those are the two preludes I have chosen, and now we'll take a look at my 10 cards. First up is Fusion Power, which talk about having your early energy production, and this one I'll actually be able to play. I have the prerequisites of the two power tags from my preludes, so that's a great looking card to be able to get out very quickly. Right, so the second card, definitely going to keep, is the Asteroid Mining. It's expensive, but it's got a Jovian tag. It's got 2 titanium production. I'm going to be getting a lot, looking at these cards, once I can get them all into play, there's a lot of production that is not mega credit production that is definitely going to help with this award. Not necessarily something I'd be giving a lot of thought at this early in the game, but definitely knowing there's one that you can almost guarantee and lock up, definitely helps inform your strategy as you go through the game. So the Nuclear Zone, a card I really like. Yeah, it's got the -2 points, but I think the boost it can give you, being able to place a special tile, I can put that down next to a lake. I wouldn't get any production for it, but it would immediately help me right here. The 2 heat bump is really nice on the temperature track to be able to make sure I can lock in at least one of these boosts. So and it's got an earth tag, so it helps over here too. So all around, really good looking card for my setup. Then we've got the Lunar Beam, again, hitting a lot of marks. It gives a tag for here, it gives a tag for over here, and it gives +4 production for this one. And yeah, it lowers mega credit production, but again, this award doesn't take into account mega credit production. So the Aquafire, again, don't know how soon I'm going to be able to get this into play, but again, got a Jovian tag. Lets me use Titanium, which hopefully I'm going to be producing victory points based on Jovian tags, which I should be able to get quite a few of. So again, a bunch of expensive cards, might take some time to get into play, but if there's one thing I learned, especially from my last game, I got off to what felt like a really slow start. Generation 5, I'd barely done any terraforming, I only had a few cards in play. By the end of the game, I had so many cards into play, scored over 120 points. So it's okay if you need to, you don't need to get a quick start, especially not if you're gaining production and benefits from your preludes. So another good card in my opening drawer. Let's see what we got next. Yeah, what was that about? I was saying about massive production. Here's another one. Again, costs 32. Won't have a problem getting a Jovian tag in play. I've already got that requirement fulfilled. 3 energy production, 3 heat production. Again, going to take a bit before I get into play, but it's all going to lead towards a very strong endgame, hopefully. So there you go. The amount of synergy in this opening hand is really quite something. Last game, I could barely produce any energy. This one, I've got energy producing everywhere. Yeah, I'll be able to spend 4 energy a turn for a titanium and an oxygen bump. So this one's fantastic. Don't need to get into play until round 2, but going to be a really good card that I expect I'll be using a lot this game. So those are the 7 cards I plan on keeping. 3 cards I'm not. The Asteroid's fine, but not a card I need to invest in early in the game. It cost 14 plus 3 to keep, so 17 minus the 6 for titanium. It's got an 11 cost for a temperature bump, which I could just do a standard project for 14. Yeah, it removes some resources, but at best, that's going to save me 1 point if I get lucky against Marsbot. So not going to be taking that one. Also, not going to be taking Search for Life, because I've never hit it, and maybe one day I will, but it's not going to be this game. So, not keeping Search for Life. And, again, just, it's got an Earth tag, but that doesn't do me any good claiming this. That has to be from projects. They have to be in play. So, and it's -2 victory points, which I just don't need. So, I am not going to be drafting that. Okay, so those, I'm only keeping 7 cards. That's going to cost me 21 of my initial 40 production. I do have to go through and do the rest of this, as well as my preludes, but before I do that, we need to take a look at Marsbot's Corporation. So Marsbot in this game is going to be playing Aridor, again, by just random luck of the draw. This one sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. And this is another one of the Colonies corporations. Again, I just shuffled the entire deck, drew one, it happened to get it. You can see I've got a bunch of white and black cubes on the track here. Whenever Marsbot hits one of those cubes, it's going to gain an additional bump on the event track, is the effect there. It's got an interesting draft priority, which is going to take some thinking on my part to make sure I resolve correctly, which is whatever its lowest track is. Ties are going to be highest to lowest. That's what it's going to want to draft as its priority. In fact, it's going to work its way all the way through them, so there'll be a lot of predictability in figuring out which cards Marsbot is going to want when I pass off my cards, which should definitely help from a strategic standpoint. And just taking a quick look at the original version of this. All right, so the player version of Aridor, well, for starters, gives an extra colony in the game that people can trade with, an extra one of these planet tiles. And so the same thing happens with Marsbot, so that's why I'm using 6 instead of the normal 5 you'd have in a 2-player setup. And then whenever it gains a new tag, it gains a bump on the income track, which is kind of simulated here. Effectively, the event track is like the income track, and as it moves up these other tracks, it's as if it's getting those tags into play. So pretty faithful to the original, pretty clever how they work out the mechanics. But that is the Marsbot Corporation. Next up, I will finish my setup by resolving my corporation and my preludes. All right, so I've already given myself the 40 and spent the 21 for the 7 cards I kept. Next up, I get to put a city into play, and I've decided to go right here on this interesting spot, which is going to allow me basically to buy a colony at a cost of 5. So I lose 5 mega credits, but I do get a colony, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to claim Triton, which is going to give me, right off the bat, 3 titanium. So that will definitely give me a boost for getting cards into play early on. Now, I've also put a city into play, so I will get +1 production on the mega credit track, and I will gain 3 for a city coming into play. So that is my corporation. Moving on to the research network, I'm going to get a bump on the income track and the mega credit track, and then I am going to get to draw 3 cards. So I will draw 3 right off the top of the deck. Don't know what I'm getting yet, but let's take a look. All right, well, these are all cards I saw in my last game. I thought I did a pretty good shuffling. Maybe not. I'll give the deck a more thorough shuffle as I go through cards, but these are the 3 I drew. This one, the Urban Decomposers. Again, I'm already have met the requirements, so I can put this into play. Don't have any microbe cards, but if I want nice quick plant production, that alone might be worth it. Next up, yet more energy production, and another energy to power tag with the solar wind power. Again, pretty easy to get into play. It really effectively only costs me 5. So that should come out probably pretty quickly. Finally, we've got the lunar exports, which is just incredible on this map because, I mean, it's got the Earth tag. I can play for it with titanium, and I can choose either the 5 production on the mega credits or the 2 production on plants. So based on how things are looking with the rest of my hand, one of these might be in reach. So yeah, that was a really good draw of those 3 cards. Finally, we're going to resolve the aqua turbines. So first, I will get to put a lake into play, and definitely going to go through with my original plan. I'm going to put the lake right here. That is going to give me 1 on the terraforming rating. And sorry, not a lake, an ocean. So I was going back over the rules. I realized I've been saying that wrong the entire time. These are ocean tiles, so I'll put an ocean into play. I will gain 2 titanium for that placement. Then I will gain, right off the bat, 2 jump on the energy production. Finally, I have to lose 3 mega credits, but still well worth it. So that is the initial setup. For Marsbot now, we've got our deck of, it's actually 9 cards in Colonies. So we'll shuffle that up. We'll take a random project, as well as the normal 3 cards it would get, 3 more for Prelude, and then it will not, there is the shipping lines where it gets to use these. That doesn't happen until Generation 2. So this is going to be Marsbot's initial deck, and I will get to lead things off. So as is so often the case, I've kind of figured, okay, this is what my first turn is going to look like. But I drew cards. It changed that. What I'm going to do actually is, and this works out really well, I can spend 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 to get this solar wind power into play. I'm going to get 2 of those back. I am going to bump up. Now I'm producing 3 energy, which means next turn I will have the energy needed to activate my trade fleet. All right, so Marsbot has drawn an Earth tag. The rest of the card doesn't matter. It's not worth any victory points, so good to know. And actually, so I'll just put this here. So the Earth track bumps, that is going to give Marsbot a city. And this is kind of what I alluded to before. I have set up a little trap for Marsbot because Marsbot really wants to place next to a lake. There's only one spot it can do that. It'll be right here. It is going to gain 2 resources for that. I'm going to gain +1 production, but not a great spot for it. For Marsbot to go, and now I definitely kind of want to go nuclear and blow one of these up to even further reduce its options. So now we come to our first significant decision point of the first generation. I've decided I am going to play this card for the jump and for the tag. I'll hold off. If I did the nuclear explosion now, that would bump this up to almost guaranteeing Marsbot gets the heat production instead of me. So I'm going to play this card, which is going to cost me 19. So there's 12 plus 7 is 19. And then, of course, the question is which production. Getting the early plant tags would be great. If I could really accelerate, start getting force and play, definitely going to help me with this milestone. But I don't know where the other 2 plant production are coming from. Whereas with this, I can take the 5 production on top of the 3 I've already got. That's 8. Marsbot's going to be playing another city pretty soon, maybe even as early as this generation. Next generation, that's 9. And then when I play a city, I could do standard project to get +2, or we'll see what cards I draw. There's a lot more cards in the deck that produce mega credits. So I think, again, playing against Marsbot, I need to get these milestones. So I am going to focus on this one. And by the way, I've kind of all these tokens I've got on the track, the little green guys, are just to let me know what Marsbot is shooting for. In terms, 4 of these milestones are based on where it is on the track. The lake is, or the oceans. This one is the same. It just needs to have 4 things touching oceans. So it's actually ahead of me on that right now. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But this helps me visualize it. For this one, we're talking about here. So I definitely think I'm going to get to that production faster than Marsbot by going ahead and taking the 5 bump. Not to mention, I've got all these expensive cards. I think the mega credit production will be more useful to me at this early stage of the game. So I'm already up to 8 mega credit production as this goes into play. That's going to be it for me. So now we're going to go through Marsbot's deck, and it's going to do all of its stuff. All right, so for Marsbot, just going in order, first one, it is going to get a Jovian tag and a space tag. The Jovian tag is also going to move this up and give it a single floater, which will go here. If it gets up to 5 floaters, then it will be able to keep an extra card during the draft. Then the space tag is just a double bump. So that is that card. Next up, we have Overachievement. It's going to try and achieve a milestone. It can't. It's going to, if it's 6th generation, it would try and do an achievement. It's not. So it's just going to gain 5 resources. So that'll go there. Next up. All right, the Comet. So that is going to advance space, which is going to go here. First we do this, which is a temperature bump. Which will also move it up here. Then we resolve this, which is to just go up on the event track, which is an arrow, which bumps it an extra step. So that was that. Then it is going to advance on the event track from this symbol and putting a lake into play. It's going to want to place that lake next to another lake. So it'll go here. Marsbot will pick up a couple of resources as well as a bump on this track. Again, not sad to see that. If I can get a forest into play, going to put it there. So Next up, a building tag. Nothing on that space. Ooh, a triple. All right, well, it's inevitable. It is going to move up 2 on the energy track. Another bump on the city track, or first bump on the city track, which will be a double. Yeah, I did that right. And then once again, and now it is going to place another lake. So in this case, it is going to want to place the lake on one of these double symbols with all the tiebreakers. At this point, it's just going to be random determination. So 1, 2, 3. The number is 18. So that's going to end up going here, which will give MarsBot an additional 2 resources, as well as another bump up here. And that was just the random draw, so that is discarded. These have all been dealt with, finally giving us the GHG factories, which here is a bump on the building track, which is going to cause the event track to go up, which is going to give MarsBot a greenery. So in this case, MarsBot is going to want to go next to a city, and it is not going to want to go next to my city. So even though going here would give it some money and help it with the milestone, it is opting to go here. That will give it 1 resource, and it will advance the oxygen track and 1 up here. That is the end of the first generation. All right, so just to kind of make the draft go faster for you, I've kind of worked this all in advance. I'm doing 1 pile at a time. As opposed to going back and forth. There's not really a big practical difference, especially when it's this deterministic. So starting here, I'm going to go ahead. This is a very appealing card to me because taking away 2 heat production is going to move him down 2, which is going to keep him further away from that milestone, further away from triggering these extra bumps. So that's a really good card, a no-brainer for me to draft. Going through here, at this point, MarsBot is just looking at the symbol it has the fewest of among these cards. It is going to be the science tag, because start top down. The fact that this has more symbols on it doesn't matter. This is the one MarsBot is going to choose, so that goes to its pile. For the round, I'll then go ahead and draft this one. I do kind of like this for late game, this card, which is gain all of your colony bonuses. Very cheap. I mean, right off the bat, it pays for itself with the titanium I'd get, and then I can wait till the future. But at this point, I do not want to give MarsBot 2 tags, so I will go ahead and draft that card. MarsBot will take this one. From MarsBot's pile, again, this worked out really well for me. There's a juicy triple tag here, which MarsBot is saying, no, I'm more interested in moving up all my tracks. So it's going to want to take the animal tag for the bottom track. That's what it'll do. I'll take the triple. MarsBot then will look and say, okay, it'll take the energy, and leaving me with this. And from MarsBot's standpoint, we'll also be shuffling that into play. But first, I have to take these 4 cards that MarsBot drafted and shuffling them up. It is not going to keep that one. So we discard that. We'll then shuffle in a project unseen, as well as the shipping lines. That's MarsBot's hand, and then I just need to go through and decide what I want to keep. All right, so going through the cards I have to choose from, definitely want to take the Heat Trappers. Hopefully can get that into play very quickly. So there's that. If you've watched any of my videos, you know how much I love to draw cards, so definitely can't say no to this. It shouldn't be too long before I can get into play. Just need 1 more science tag on top of the one I've already got. Actually, no, I've got 2 science tags in play. I could play it as soon as this turn if I wanted to. I won't. I wanted to keep this card. I feel like with all the energy and heat, it'll definitely be useful in the end game. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be a few extra points. And I kind of did all the math. I cannot afford to keep this card right now if I want to be able to do everything I want to this turn. So I'm not going to take this, and then I'm certainly not going to draft this card, which I have no intention of playing anytime soon. So I'll let those 2 go. I will spend 6 to keep 2 cards, and then we will kick things off. Actually, in Generation 2, MarsBot will go first. All right, MarsBot is going to go first. It is got shipping lines. it's going to choose the track that's farthest moved along, which is all of them. If it had a colony sum there, that would be the tiebreaker. It doesn't, so there are 6. We'll draw a random card, which is going to be a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 6 if it comes up. Marsbot is going to go here, pushing that back to its start, and it will pick up 2 heat over here, and that is Marsbot's first action. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on this nuclear zone while it is optimal. It costs me 10 to play, and I am going to get the explosion. I actually am going to put it up here. I thought about maybe going down here, but I don't have any other plant resources, so we'll go ahead and go here down the road. That would help for Founder and give me a little extra production, which could be the difference between getting a card into play around earlier. So we'll go ahead and place that there, and then I will gain 2 on this track, which will allow me to gain a bump on the heat track as well as 2 production here, and it is another Earth tag, so I've now got 3 of the 5 I need to get to here. Now we go back to Marsbot. So Marsbot action is just a failed action, as it doesn't have any resources, which will then bring me to my play, and I actually realized I shouldn't have slow played. I should have gone ahead and done this right away, but I'm going to go ahead and play the heat trapping, so I'm going to move Marsbot back 2 spaces on this track, and now, very important, it does not gain those benefits again as it moves back up, so we put a couple of its tokens down just to remind us of that. I gain an energy production up to 4, put that into play, and now we go back to Marsbot, which is going to draw an animal tag, which raises it 1 up on this track, but otherwise doesn't do anything. Now back to me, and I gotta say, I was very tempted to try and get this card into play because I do love drawing cards, but I think more important to mess with it over there, and I want to really ramp up my energy production because once I get up to 7, not only will I be able to spend my 3 to do my trade fleet, I'll also have the 4 needed to be able to pay for this card. So, popping this over here. So, which I could get going as soon as next turn. So I will go ahead, spend the 14 to put this into play. Oh, and I did have to spend 6 for that. Yep, okay. So, leaving me with just 2. So I will go ahead, put this into play, giving myself 3 more production, all the way up to 7 energy production. Now, for Marsbot, is going to do a science tag, which is going to advance it on the science track, which is going to give it a city, and also advance it on the action track, which is going to be 2 bumps, and is going to give it 2 floaters, and I will grab a city and we'll put it out. Marsbot wants to put a city next to many greenery tiles as possible. It's a tie, so it will go ahead and draw an even one, so it'll go ahead and put its city here. Then I will go ahead and spend 3 energy, and I got a couple good options. I could go here, which would get me 2 titanium, but I'm actually going to go here. I want the steel more right now, and plus I can go there next turn. It'll be worth a little bit more. So here I'll go ahead and get myself 3 steel, sliding this back. Marsbot will finish things off with draw another project card. All right, so that is going to be an energy tag, which is going to do a bunch of things because it's going to move on this track, which is going to give it 3. 1, 2, 3. And then it is going to move on this track, which is, boy, does it move up this track fast, a double bounce, which is going to let it put a lake into play. Again, in this case, it is going to want to touch another lake, and as many symbols as possible. So it will go here, gaining 3 resources, as well as a bump on the terraforming rating track. I got nothing else I can do, so that is the end of Generation 2. So, going into the draft, I've go ahead and done my income and everything. There are 2 cards in particular that appeal to me. These top 2, whichever one I don't take, Marsbot will take. But the Earth Catapults this early in the game, plus it gives me that Earth tag I need, Planet tag. So I think I'm going to go ahead and jump on this one, even though this is going to give Marsbot a double bump. So Marsbot will take that. Coming back to me, it's just a question. I'm not going to play either of these cards. It's just a question of which one I'd rather Marsbot go up on. I think it's actually the science track, so that if it puts another city into play, that's going to help me potentially get to this award. So I'll let it have this. I'll draft this. For Marsbot stack, I've kind of ordered them in the order in which it's going to want them. So in this case, it's lowest on this track, so that's unfortunate because Coppola City is a card I would very much like to have. It would help with here, but it doesn't matter. Marsbot is going to draft this. Coming back to me, I will go ahead and deprive it of the double tag. It'll take the single event, leaving me with nothing. In terms of which cards I'm going to keep, I already have a card basically just like this. The only card I'm going to keep is the Earth Catapult, which is going to cost me 3. So we'll add that to my hand, discard the rest. Marsbot is going to shuffle in. Well, first Marsbot is going to discard one of these because it still doesn't have enough floaters. So we'll shuffle these up. I'm not exactly sure how the tiebreaker goes in this case. I guess lowest, it's not going to discard the tags of the track it's lowest on. Otherwise, it will. So it'll go ahead and discard that, and it might just discard any card. I'm not even sure. But I think that's a fair enough way to do it. It will shuffle in shipping. It will shuffle up this. We are in generation number 3, an odd number generation, so I will get to go first this round. One thing I want to make sure that Marsbot doesn't beat me out on this round is getting the benefits of Triton. So I will go ahead, I will spend 3 energy. Oh, that should be a single, not a 5. I realized when I was doing income that I never gave myself a bump for Marsbot putting that city into play, so I went ahead and did that. I took the extra income, but I will spend 3 energy. I'll go up here, which will give me 2 plus 1 for my colony bonus, 3 titanium. Then Marsbot is going to go, and Marsbot is going to do shipping lines. So Marsbot will go, I believe there's 3 options that it's looking at. Drawing a tiebreaker card is an 8. So it'll end up going here and giving itself 2 on that box. And once it gets to 5 is when it would trade those in. But that is Marsbot's action. So back to me, I will go ahead and play the Earth Catapult, which costs right now 23. Everything else is going to be cheaper. So go ahead and put that into play and then kick things back to Marsbot, who is going to draw the Outer Systems Foothold. So it is going to build a colony on a randomly selected one. There are 6 choices. So I have drawn a 24, which means Marsbot is going for microbes. So in this case, which is fine by me because I have no intention of going there, at least as things stand right now. I don't have any cards with microbes. So it will go ahead, drop a couple tokens here, and that is not removed. That can get reshuffled into the mix. So back to me for what will... Well, I got a couple more actions because I'm going to spend... it costs 13, but 11 to put this into play. Spending 6 steel plus 5 is 11 for the ore processing, which is going to let me convert energy into titanium and oxygen. So we'll put that into play there. going back to Marsbot. Now Marsbot is going to advance on the science track, which this bump doesn't do anything. Now, what will probably be my last action of the generation, although I do have all that titanium, and a little bit more to come, as I will spend 4 energy to give myself a titanium, moving up on the oxygen track, and a terraforming bump. That's that action. Marsbot will go now. All right, so we have a couple things. It is going to place another city, so let's go ahead and get that out. All right, so Marsbot is can't place its city next to a greenery, so that being the case, it'll go for the most lake tiles, which will be here, which is 2, 4, 5. I will gain a bump on here, bringing me up to 10, so I'm getting close to the investor. I just need 2 more. Don't have anything in my hands. We'll have to see how the draft goes, if I can do that. And of course, again, the other way I could do it is if I do a standard project spending 25 to put a city into play, that will give me a bump from the standard project plus my corporation. That would get me there. So certainly something worth considering. That was just that tag. Now it's going ahead and resolve the building tag, which will move up here, which will then move it up here. So that resolves that. Now at this point, I do have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. My discount's 17, but my cheapest space tag card is 25. So not quite ready to play anything else, but I'll have a lot to spend next generation. I'm done, so we'll let Marsbot finish it out with a couple of tags, starting with the Jovian tag on the bottom. Again, it's already advanced on this track. It does not trigger the effect again. We put the tokens out to remind us of that. Then it'll move on the space track, which in this case is not going to do anything. And now we are at the end of generation 3. So we'll do income, look at the draft, and figure out really now is the time to start looking at milestones. I can get a 5th planet tag. I've got 3, 4, so get another planet tag in play. I could claim that. Again, I can get investor, so we'll see how that works out. Don't know that I'll be able to do both, probably not, but let's see what's in the cards for me. All right, so we're ready to go into generation 4. And one thing I forgot to do earlier is when Marsbot drew its Colonies specific special project, it should have discarded the top card of its project deck to no effect. That would be invasive species, so that's discarded. Also, I double-checked the rules specific to this corporation in determining its priority for drafting. It's going to determine that at the beginning of the draft, and then it sticks with that throughout, and that's the only symbols it's looking at. So in this case, it is looking for Earth tags and Jovian tags for this draft. Going into the draft, I've got 2 really interesting cards in the 4 here, one of which, the Methane from Titan, as well as Insulation. And with these 2 cards combined, if I play them both this turn, I will actually be able to achieve 2 milestones. Whether or not I'm going to achieve both this turn remains to be seen, but definitely is my draft strategy. I'll go ahead and draft this, and then Marsbot wants the Earth tag, so it's going to draft that. Then I will go ahead and draft Insulation. I am giving up a double to Marsbot, but I think it's worthwhile. Now, for Marsbot. All right, so Marsbot doesn't have any of the symbols it's looking for, so we're just going to randomly determine. Of course, I rolled a 6. Number 2 is going to be that card. So with me, finally have a couple of opportunities to get microbes, animals. Microbes especially, I think, is good because of this in play. I don't necessarily want Marsbot to always be getting the benefit there. So, not to mention, I might want to think about being able to compete for this. If I leave it completely unchecked, Marsbot could run away with that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this one, draft, which I will probably keep. Marsbot then will odd or even pick this one, which is fine by me. And so now I just need to figure out, well, let's see, for Marsbot, one of these is going to get discarded, not the Earth tag. So we'll just shuffle up. Okay. double symbol. That's nice. Then we will shuffle in a special project as well as the shipping lines. And I'm going to take a look through and figure out which of these want to keep, how much money I can afford to spend, and be able to do everything I want to do this turn. So I'm actually going to keep 3 cards. I'm going to keep the Deep Composers so I can get that into play, and of course these 2 cards to make sure I can get with the milestones. As things stand right now, I won't quite have enough money to claim both milestones, but I think that's going to be okay, knowing the symbols MarsBot has, and I get to go first next generation. I don't think I probably would only want to do one of the milestones anyway. So I think that'll all work out. I will pay 9 to keep 3 cards, and we will kick things off for the round with MarsBot. So here's MarsBot. Is just going to advance on the bottom track to no effect. Now, interesting decision point for me right now. And you might notice I put some dice out here, kind of calculating where the awards are at. I'm going to go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do is going to trade. And my question is, do I want to trade on Pluto, draw 3 cards, or Enceladus? And first I'd have to get a micro card into play. Because if MarsBot goes there, it is going to be able, it's going to gain 3. It's going to be able to advance an extra up the track. The kind of chain reaction of that is this generation, it will be able to claim an award. However, right now, it is most ahead of me on Mogul, which is the thing that I most want it to take, because I am sitting on a lot of those tags. I think I'm going to be able to win that one easily. So my thinking kind of is I want MarsBot to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend for my action 3 energy, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Pluto, and I am going to get to draw 3 cards out of that, which are going to be Research Coordinator. Well, that's pretty nice, actually. Wow. That makes things really interesting, giving me another wild tag, which could help me with the Architect. Not this generation, but next. So that's first. Again, next up is Noctis Farming, which I'll be able to play pretty shortly. Nice card. No rush to get it into play, but certainly not sad about that one. And finally, Magnetic Field Generator. Less enthusiastic about this one, but it does give plant production, which could also get me up on the Forester, and I will certainly have enough energy production to be able to afford to lose some of that. I can gain it right back. So 3 really good cards. Definitely glad that I took that option and went to Pluto. So now I'm going to slow play, let MarsBot, I don't want to eat into any of this lead that it's got. So now MarsBot is going to do business contacts. So first it's going to advance on the Earth track, which will have no effect because there's a floater there, but again, it's already triggered that. It's not going to trigger it again. Then it is going to advance on the event track, which is going to move it up 3 terraforming rating, and that is MarsBot's turn. Continuing to take things slow, I'll go ahead, do the ore processor. I'll spend 4, which goes over here. Likewise there. Spend 4, which will give me a titanium, as well as bumping the oxygen up to 3%. Back to MarsBot. All right, industrial microbes. So here, actually, I'll try calculated this right. I think it's going to happen anyway. All right, so MarsBot is going to bump up 1 on this track, and so that is going to first give it a forest, then move it up here, then do the building tag. So let me figure all this out. It's going to get a forest. It's going to go ahead. It can put it next to 2 cities, which is definitely its optimal placement. So that will raise the oxygen, raise its terraforming rating, which will then trigger the bump on this track, which it will now claim an award, the one it's leading the most on. Its highest track, it's 10 times 2 is 20 is the number it's looking at, versus mine is currently 8. So in terms of non-mega credit production, so it's beating me by 12, which is more than it's beating me anywhere else. So Marsbot has walked into my trap, and we'll go ahead and claim the mogul. So that's that, and then we also need to bump up on the building track, and so that is it for Marsbot. And now I don't need to slow play anymore. I can pretty much freely do the things I want to do. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and play the Methane from Titan. It's going to cost me 26. So I'll spend 15, 25, 26 to get that into play, which is going to give me another planet tag. So I've now got 4 plus the wild of those. So I'm ready to do that milestone. That's going to give me 2 plant production as well as 2 heat production. And then for my second play, I will go ahead and play this guy, the Insulator, which is going to be free. And that is allow me to decrease my heat production to increase my mega preget. I'm just going to decrease my heat production by 2 to get me to the requisite 12 that I need. Because again, keeping in mind for this guy, I do want to keep my tracks up. So I am now at 12 mega credit production, so I can now also claim that. But it is Marsbot's turn. And Marsbot is going to do a meteor shower, which is it wants to destroy my plants, and I don't have any. So I believe this is discarded with no effect. So that is very nice. Timely, too, now that I will be producing plants. So coming back to me, at this point, I think what I am going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and claim the 1 milestone that it's competing with me on, and is actually ready to claim, and that is the investor. So I think that's good. I'll now let Marsbot go. Marsbot is going to get shipping lines, and it is going to go over here. Again, doesn't matter where it's on the track. It gets 2 plus the 1 bonus because it has a colony there, so it will gain 3 plus the 2 it's already got is a total of 5. That will go ahead and bump it up on the bottom track. But that is it for Marsbot, and now I can go through. Still got a little bit to spend, see if there's anything else I want to get into play. For my action, I think I am just going to go ahead and claim the milestone. There are reasons I wouldn't potentially, but might as well go ahead and do it. I've got the tags. Spending 8 to do that, just because the way it works on hard mode is if I only had 1 milestone completed, then on its first turn, Marsbot would only claim a milestone as a free action if it had 2 milestones completed. Once I got 2, as long as it's got 1, it'll then claim, but again, that's an unclaimed one. It's not in a position to claim anything. I am definitely going to claim something next round. We'll see how the draft goes. It could either be one of these two. So either way, though, I get to go first. So let me get this out of the way now. I wasn't really any production card I was going to put into play, so I'm not really losing anything. Better just get it taken care of. So that's all I got. That's the end of the generation. Things are looking very good, and we will get ready for Generation 5. All right, so going to the draft here, I think I'm probably going to take this imported hydrogen, which I've got up top, just because of the 3 symbols. It's got the Earth tag, which is Earth and Jovian are Marsbot's priority this turn. There's another one. I'd rather take the one with fewer symbols, and not a card I'd necessarily want to play. This one could be useful definitely down the line. So I will go ahead and draft that. Marsbot will want the Jovian tag. Coming back to me, the card I really want from this stack is the Urbanized Area, which is going to give me another city tag. I can play the city right here. which is a nice spot. And then I can get my wild tag into play, and then I don't even need to worry about the plant production. I can just go ahead and claim that milestone, which will free me up to, if I want to go a different direction, at least for this generation. I will eventually play all those cards. Don't know that I want to get them out immediately. So I'll draft that. Marsbot will draft that. For Marsbot stack, nothing it's looking for, so just randomly it will go ahead and draft this. That's too bad. I wouldn't have minded grabbing another colony. So among these, it's interesting. There's the Lichen. Honestly, I'd love to get both. This one, only one wet lake away from playing into play. I think that's definitely the better one, so I'll take that. Marsbot, odd or even. Odd, so it does take the other plant tag, giving me this. Marsbot will set them up, and then I will figure out which cards that I want to purchase for this round. And since I go first, I will also go ahead and figure out what I want to do. So I am going to go ahead and keep 3 of these cards, discarding this guy, which I can't even play. That's going to cost me 9. Marsbot, I almost forgot, actually does have to remove one of these cards. It does not have 5 floaters yet, so it is actually going to get rid of that. Oh, a true hate draft. Not even playing that card. All right, then we'll mix it in with the other cards. I get to go first, so before it... I don't even know that it would play a forest, but I think I just want to kind of get a jump ahead on this, make sure I don't miss out on what I think is a pretty good spot for me. So I got 2 colonies that Marsbot is looking at going, and I actually think the better one because of that is if I go to Ceres, that's going to give me 4 steel, which is effectively 8, and then once Marsbot goes here, I'll get a titanium. Whereas if I just went and took titanium, that would be a value of 9. So this definitely the better play. So I will go there, spending 3 energy as my first action, and then my second action, I will go ahead and play the urbanized area. So urbanized area, again, cost me 10, minus 2 is 8, so I'll just pay for that with steel. It is going to reduce my energy production by 1, but give me +2 over here. And I will put a city into play, and that city has to be adjacent to 2 other cities, which is not at all a problem. We'll go ahead and drop it down right in this wonderful looking area with the nuclear explosion. But there is some forest there, and I will pick up 2 for placing next to a lake. Not to mention, I placed a city, so this triggers, I gain 3, and I go up yet another production up to 15 on Mega Credit. So that is my action. Let's see what Marsbot has. Marsbot just going to do a plant tag, so it is going to move up, and it is going to get a forest. In Marsbot's case, it's going to want to be next to as many cities as it can, followed by being next to lakes, so its only option is right here. That is going to give it 3 tokens, or 3 resources, as well as bumping the oxygen and its Mega Credit rating. That was it playing Lichen, and now I gotta look things over. At this point, I'm happy to slow play things a bit. I will go ahead and play the Research Coordinator, which is only going to cost me 2. That will get me in position to claim this milestone, which I'll let Marsbot go first before I do it. Run them out of cards so I can freely figure out what I want to do. Again, they're not that close to getting a milestone, so I'm good. All right, it is going to do a space tag, which is going to be a lake. Oh, well, that's timely, as we now have the 5th lake in play. It is going to want to be next to an existing lake, so with more icons possible, it will gain 3 for that, and also a bump up here. Then it will advance here, and I can go ahead and remove all these milestone markers. They are no longer relevant. So that, no effect for that advance. That card will go here, and I should actually keep this up here. And then back to me. I will, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead, spend my 8, and really great situation where I can claim the architect. Again, I need 3 city tags. I've got 1 from the urbanized area and then 2 from the wilds. So that's all set, bringing us back to Marsbot, who is now going to do the local neural instance. All right, so for the neural instance, a very obvious place to go. There are 3 symbols here, nothing around it, so that is Marsbot's target, and it will gain 3 resources for that. And that is removed from the game. Over to my turn. At this point, I am going to go ahead and play the Decomposers, get that into play. Only cost me 3, so we'll drop that over here. 3, and it will immediately give me a microbe tag. Back to Marsbot, and Marsbot is going to go ahead and do shipping. In this case, it's going to go up to Triton, which will give it 2 resources here, and I will gain a titanium. Back to me. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play the algae, which costs me 8. It does have a plant tag, so I get another token here. It gives me a plant, and I get +2 plant production. Finally, for Marsbot, it's going to do a Jovian tag and a space tag. The Jovian tag is going to move it up here. Nothing underneath, but it is going to trigger the event track, which is rapidly going to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a space tag, which is going to give Marsbot another city. Marsbot is going to want to put that city next to a greenery. And then the next tiebreaker after that would be a lake or ocean, as many oceans as possible. So all those are triple here. It's going to go ahead and go here, gaining 3 resources. And for my part, since it played a city, I will gain another bump here. And that is going to do it for Marsbot this generation. Now, something really interesting as I'm going through, I'm actually not going to activate the ore processor this turn. Reason being, we're getting down to it. There's only 3 different special projects left. Marsbot goes first next turn. One of those is the double bump. Which actually, now that I think about it, I guess it would do on this track first. But I might be in a position, if I kind of play things carefully, where I'll have enough heat to do 2 bumps on this track by not spending my energy. So I do think that will be worth it to give me an opportunity to potentially get both of these bonuses. I am not done yet, though. I am going to play the Lunar Beam, which is going to cost me 11. And that is going to give me -2 here, down to only 14 production on that track, but 2 more heat production, as well as 2 more energy production, getting me up to 8 there. Now, the interesting thing, let's see, that puts me, I'm at 3, plus 3 is 6. I could potentially go here, getting me up to 14. Yeah, it's still not enough to do it twice, so I would still need that energy. So I think I'm going to stand with my original decision to not activate this turn, and that will be the end of Generation 5. So going right into the draft, this round, Marsbot looking for Earthman Jovian tags. None of those in my starting hand. I do like this Tesseract, where I can convert energy into plant production. So, and it's the only double tag. I'm going to draft that. From these, Marsbot is going to go 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12. This way I won't have to reroll. It's a 7, so it's going to take flooding. I will then, Interesting. I mean, Black Polar Tusk versus farming. This is worth more victory points, and this doesn't have a tag. So yeah, I think I will go ahead and take that. So Marsbot will draft that. Now in this stack, again, nothing with the tag, so just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 10, 11, 12. That's too bad. I wouldn't have minded getting that card. But here, I have a lot of Jovian tags, being able to add resources. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and take this. Marsbot will odd or even, draft that, giving that to me. At this point, I'm actually going to keep all 3 cards, or all 4, I should say. You can see them all being really useful, and my money production is really good, and it's going to continue to get better. So I'll go ahead and spend 12 to keep everything. Yeah, the CEO's favorite project, free to play, 3 to keep. I can hold on to it, and in case I end up having to compete for Zoologist, or it could be the difference of getting another victory point. Definitely seems worth it. Marsbot from these 4 cards is going to discard that one, the Hermetic Order of Mars, and then it will add these 2 to the mix. And Marsbot is going to go first this round. So thinking about awards, I'm leading on Founder, I'm tied on Electrician, 5 behind on Zoologist, 3 behind on Forecaster. I think I can win any of these. So Marsbot getting pretty close in a couple, at least here, and not too far here, in funding another ward. I'm of the mind now to just let Marsbot pay for that, keep my money. We'll see if situation changes as we get closer to it. But for Marsbot is going to go ahead and lead off with Lobbyists. And that is too bad because I was very close to being in a position to go ahead and grab 2 bumps, but we knew that was a risk. So Marsbot will go ahead, move up twice on this track, give itself just 2 of these, as well as a double bump here. And it takes a little of the pressure off. I don't have to feel any kind of rush. But Marsbot has gone ahead and done that, so that will be destroyed. So I'm going to start things off. I do want to slow play things a bit, see what Marsbot does. So I'm just going to go ahead, spend 3 energy. I'll have other chances to get microbes, and I also wouldn't mind if Marsbot claimed that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to grab the 8 heat, which is going to put me in position to do at least 1 jump on the temperature track. And now for Marsbot, it is going to be shipping lines. So good that I got that in. It is now going to go here. That's going to give it 3 microbes over here. Back to me. So I'm going to go ahead and play Tesseract, which costs me 12 to get into play with my discount. And then we'll pass back to Marsbot, who is going to get a building tag, which is going to be a bump on the temperature track. Then I got a lot of ground to make up here, but we'll get there. Coming back to me, I'll just go ahead and activate the Tesseract, dropping down to 7 here, but going up on the plant production track. Also, when I play the Tesseract, I actually should have gained a terraforming rating, so let's do that. Back to Marsbot is the card I just played. Back to Marsbot is a failed action, so drop a tough 10, take a 5 back. So that's Marsbot. Coming back to me, I will go ahead and play this guy, which is just going to cost me 4. It is a microbe tag, so I will get a token here. And then I will gain another plant jump and 2 more microbes, which I will also put here. Alright, finishing up for Marsbot is going to be an event, which is going to be another heat bump. And there's actually not a lot more that I have to do, but we'll go through it. I'm going to spend 5 to go ahead here, which will give me a titanium and raise the oxygen to 6. And I do think I get to go first next round. I'll be able to do this again. I'll have enough plants, so right off the bat, I'll be able to claim that. I'll go ahead and spend 8 heat to get a temperature bump of my own. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and play the Galilean workstation just to keep income going. It could certainly be better if I wait a little bit longer, especially if Marsbot can move up. But I have a good opportunity to get into play now, so I'll go ahead and do so. It cost me 13. Spend 6 here, so an additional 7. I will take 12 off and put 5 back. And that is going to give me one mega credit increase for every Jovian tag in play. That does count these 2, plus the one I've got is 3, and then the Mars bot track is also at 3, so that is going to be 6 more on this track, bringing me up to an even 20. And I have 6 left, but nothing I can play other than I could put an extra token here, but again, I'm going to hold on to that. No reason to play that until later in the game. That is the end of Generation 6. All right, going into the draft, I'm going to go ahead and take the Advanced Ecosystems because it's a triple, so I don't really... Plus, it's good for me. It gives me 3 more tokens there, so I'm going to draft that. Guess I can't actually play it yet, but just need to get my hands on an animal tag. Meanwhile, Marsbot is going to go ahead and take that card because it's looking for Jovian and Earth tags. Among these 2, I'll take the one I could potentially play. I probably won't keep it, but that's that. Marsbot actually has 2 of these in hand, so we'll go odd or even. Odd, it will take the media group, and then it's a question of whether or not I want to go... I think I will... take the floater card, even though I like the restricted area. The floater card is going to potentially help me with Forecaster if I end up having to compete for that. So I'll draft that, which means Marsbot is going to choose one of these at random. It is going to be the floater prototypes. So that would have been nice to pair with that, but I think I'd rather have the restricted area anyway. So... that is that. Marsbot is still only at 3 floaters, so going to get rid of one of these, and it is going to be the meteor. Nope, once I hold on to that, so even better, it will get rid of the double, plus shipping and an event or a project, a special project. So that's Marsbot. And then I just need to make a decision, confirm what I'm going to do to start the round, and also which cards I want to keep. Yeah, so I'm absolutely going to keep... I'm going to keep 3. The Advanced Ecosystems I can already play. I forgot about my wild tags. So keep all 3 of these. Will cost me 9. And then, as I get to go first, I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get this. So I will spend 8 to get a greenery into play, and that is going to go next to both my cities, which is very nice. Also going to get me a little bit of steel. I will go up 1 here, 1 here, and then I will go ahead and activate the ore processor, spending 4 of my energy to gain a titanium and another oxygen bump, which will then give me a heat bump, and we're starting to make a move. All right, that's my 2 actions. Marsbot is going to lead off with shipping lines. I believe at this point it's going to go to Callisto. Again, its first choice is going to be whichever has the most. So it's going to go to Callisto and give itself 2 on there, getting up to 4. So should be able to deny that unless it puts a colony there. That's shipping lines. And now coming back to me, Before I immediately do this, I should kind of work things out. You know what? I'll go ahead and I'll do the heat bump. That's definitely going to happen. So back to Marsbot again. Marsbot is going to do expedited construction. It wants to build a city tile next to either any combination of two oceans and forests. Pretty sure that is not possible right now. But this card's a little bit different. If Marsbot has 1 or 0 colonies, it builds one on a randomly selected colony tile where it doesn't have one and gains 2 of the corresponding resource. All right, so I probably would have rather it gotten a city, but we will go ahead, random one of these 5. It is a 6, so it is going to join me up top at Triton. So they get a colony there, as well as gaining 2 Triton resources, bringing them up to 4. And that is not destroyed. So that just goes to the discard pile, and again, back to me. I think we're going to go ahead and get the restricted area into play so that I can start drawing yet more cards. That's going to cost me 9. So that is going to go... Now, I'm not sure... I'm going to put it here, first of all, which is going to give me 2 mega credits and a plant. What I'm not sure is whether or not they count each other for Founder. But I'll figure that. I'll look that up and figure that out later. Founder is the number of your tiles touching special tiles. Even at the worst case scenario, I put a forest here, and now... well, it doesn't matter that it's touching 2 of them. So maybe that's not the best play, but I do want the extra plant, and I don't want to put it anywhere that Marsbot might be thinking of going. So I feel pretty good about that. Speaking of Marsbot, Marsbot is just going to have a failed action. Coming back to me, I'll go ahead and spend 2 and see what I'm going to get out of it. It is going to be a card I probably don't want to play, the Radchem Factory. Maybe at the end of the game, I could use a couple extra points. We'll see. So that goes in my hand. Once again, slow playing, back to Marsbot. There's the Earth tag, which is going to give it a bump on the temperature track, which I don't mind seeing these things go up a point. We're in 7 now. I don't know if... I mean, I'd love to get things done by Generation 10. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll have to see how it goes. But it is back to me, and again, more decisions to be made. I want to keep my production going, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Ceres to grab myself 3 steel, which will help put other cards into play. Again, I have to spend 3 energy for that. Marsbot will finish up with a Jovian tag, which will give it 2 floaters, so that does have it up to the magic number of 5. It will be keeping all of its cards next round. And then the space tag is going to advance the Phoenix track, which is not a thing. So that is it for Marsbot, and now I've still got a lot to spend. Certainly, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and play Noctis Farming, which costs me 10. It cost me 8 with my discount, so I'll go ahead and spend all of my steel. That'll cover the cost to put that into play. It does have a plant tag, so I gain another token here. And 2 plants, plus 1 mega credit. Very nice card for me. And still a ton to spend, so I'm going to work on all the rest of it. I have a pretty big potential combo play coming up involving forests and lakes and special tiles, but I'm not quite ready to go there yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this into play for the production. Cost me 30, so or 28 minus 3 is 25, so there's my 25. That does leave me with 9 mega credits, but nothing I really want to play right now. Then it's really just the question of whether or not I want to do this for another plant bump. I think I want to get one more use out of this. So I am not going to knock down my energy production just yet, but I think next turn we might end up letting that go. So that is going to be the end of the generation for me, and we will get ready to go into Generation 8. All right, so I am a little bit concerned about. I thought I had this kind of on lock, but it's Mogul. It's actually a little close right now. Looking at all the cards I have in hand, I still have a lot of stuff I need to get into play. So that's going to factor into my decision making this round. But starting off, this is the hand I've got. Marsbot is favoring science and city tags, so I'll deprive it of the double. Marsbot will go ahead and take this. I'll take the mining expedition, which I may play to just kind of lower this down, slow down that track. We shall see. And then Marsbot is still going to get an event tag, so that is going to continue to move up. From over here, Marsbot is going to want the Kaguya Tech. So then I do want to go ahead and take the Moss so that I have extra plant production. I need to work on that Mogul. And then Marsbot will take one of these at random, and that is going to be the first one, which is good because the Miranda Resort has more icons. Not really interested in the Miranda Resort. We'd have to go 3 more generations for it to pay off, and I hope that doesn't happen. I have no interest in that. I will keep both of these for 6. Marsbot is going to get to keep all of its cards by spending 5 floaters. Getting the last project from the project deck, which we know is going to be corporate competition. Which means, as things stand right now, I may want to fund something just so that it doesn't push Mogul up again. We'll see if I even get the chance, though, because Marsbot gets to go first. I've decided to keep these. Here, we'll roll a die, see which of these 6 cards is going to be on top. It's going to be number 6. So the dice have determined that Marsbot is going to lead off with a science tag, which is going to give them a city. Marsbot's going to go ahead and place a city, and in the only spot that it can touch a greenery, which will be right here, which will give Marsbot 1 resource, and then I will gain a bump on the income track. All right, so that is Marsbot's action. Now, it is my turn. And first and foremost, I do want to go ahead and play this to slow it down a bit. It's going to cost me 10. So I will move this track back twice. And just to make sure that we don't forget that it's already done these 2, we'll drop a couple of these down. So we will not be able to do those again. I am also going to bump the oxygen 1, as well as get 2 steel. Okay. I guess when I did production, I put these here. I'm going to gain 2 steel. For my second action, I am going to go ahead and fund an award because I don't want Marsbot to push this. It is going to draw that card this round. It's going to corporate competition, where whichever award is the closest, that is the one that it's going to push up and challenge for. So right now I'm leading Founder. I don't know if it's 2-0 or 4-0. Again, I'll have to figure that out. But at least for now, I'll go ahead and fund it. Either way, I'm ahead. Marsbot is going to, when it draws that card, attempt to place a city next to a special tile. Speaking of Marsbot, I've taken 2 actions, so now Marsbot is going to draw a space tag, which it will attempt to fund a milestone. It cannot, so that is a failed action. All right, I'm in a bit of trouble with Founder because the way it's set up, MarsBot counts this as a special tile, and I do not. So I don't know. This could be a bad decision, but I'm gonna spend 25, and I'm gonna do a standard project to put a city into play. Which at the moment is not worth a lot, but I think it's really important that I lock up this award and really limit MarsBot's options. I'm going to put it up here. It does cost me a little bit less because I get 3 back, and I also get a steal out of that, plus 1 production here. It does slow down the things I want to do. The other thing I need to make sure I take care of is I realized that if MarsBot gets to ship before me, it's going here. So let me beat it to the punch. I'm going to get 4 titanium out of that. Of course, that does mean that MarsBot is going to get its colony bonus of +1, which gives it 5 tokens. It will advance on the space track and bump the temperature, which not a terrible thing. It's getting closer, but it's still 3 away. So that was 2 actions. Next up, a MarsBot is going to, unfortunately, advance on the event track, which is also going to give it a greenery tile. And that tile is, I believe it can put it next to 2 cities. It can. That is not a greenery. That is a special tile that looks like a greenery. It will go here. Ouch. Gaining bumps on those tracks, and now back to me. At this point, I don't want to, I've set the awards, kind of calculated. I'm actually winning on Electrician. That'd be great. I don't think MarsBot is going to select that, but Zoologist would be great because I have a bunch more ways of putting tokens here, so I don't want to upset that balance, leave it as it is. So I will go ahead and just activate the ore processor, spending 4 energy to once again bump this up, as well as bumping up over here. And I also get a titanium out of that, which I think is going to be key. Now MarsBot is going to go, and it is going to do shipping lines, which will go to Pluto now. That being the most advanced, and I have no problem with that because that doesn't give it any extra bumps. That's shipping lines, which will come back next round. Again, continuing to slow play, I'm just going to sell off the Rad Chem Factory for 1, which I also believe I'm going to need 1 more. So now MarsBot will go ahead and, Kaguya Tech. A lot's going to happen here as MarsBot is going to advance on the city track, gaining a greenery, which it is going to want to put, cannot put it next to 2 cities, so then it's going to want to be touching a lake, which it can do down here. I'm glad it's not putting it here next to a special tile. It will gain 2 for that. And it'll raise this. It'll go up here again. And boy, we are rapidly running out of that. So that was just the greenery. Then it is going to advance on the energy track, going twice, which is going to bump the heat by 2. And yeah, wow, now it's up to 32 here. I really wanted Mogul. I thought I was being pretty clever. Maybe not. I'm kind of getting crushed there right now. I guess the good news is it can only go up 2 more spaces. I'm not even sure what happens at that point. And then it's also going to advance on this bottom track, which changes the equation of the zoologist. So it's actually even more likely to go there now. At this point, I can't really hold off on placing my greenery tiles anymore. I'm going to lose out on the opportunity to gain a terraforming rating, so that is a very good spot for me. bumping this up to 13, bumping me up 1 here, and then MarsBot will go ahead and do a corporate competition. So again, the closest one that's been declared is Founder. MarsBot is going to attempt to place a city next to a special tile. Places a city tile adjacent to a special tile. And it actually can't. So I may have outthought myself. All right, I gotta double check what happens here. So this could be really bad for me. MarsBot cannot resolve the action of Founder, so instead it's going to resolve one of these, and it is going to be Science and Energy. So Science is going to bump it. Yeah, this was awful. It's going to bump it up on this track, and it's going to bump up here, and then it is going to go ahead and it is going to fund an award. So there is that. It will go ahead and fund Zoologist. That, at least it's not worth any victory points. That did not quite all work out as planned, although I'm pretty secure in Founder now. And I can take Zoologist. Mogul could be pretty difficult. They're up to 34, and I thought I was going to get there easily. I don't know about it. But I still do have stuff I can do, plenty to spend, so I'll go through it. There's a lot I want to do, but most of the options just aren't available to me because most of my money is tied up in titanium or steel. So I am just going to go ahead and play this and see how it goes. It costs 32 or 30, so there's 21 plus an additional 9. That is all of my hard-earned cash to do the beam from a thorium asteroid, which is going to give me +3 on each of these. That was the big card that's really going to give me a shot to compete here. But we'll see. I'm also going to go ahead and knock this back down to 9, putting this up to 7. Unfortunately, I don't have enough to buy a card. I could sell cards off, but there's no guarantee that what I'll get will be any better. So, that all being the case, pretty much done for this generation. On to generation number 9. All right, so we go into the draft in round 9 with some very interesting things. This card was in my stack, and I am absolutely going to draft it because this is going to give me, right now, I think with my wilds, I've got 7. This would make 7 earth tags. I have another one in my hand. I can get 4 titanium production, which again is going to help me with the mogul. So that's exactly what I was looking for. It was a really nice card that could help boost me on potentially winning that award. Again, 10-point turnaround. It has to be my biggest focus right now, along with making sure that I can win Founder and Zoologist. MarsBot is looking to draft plant, microbe, or animal. It has 2 to choose from, so odd or even. It is going to take the symbiotic fungus, so I will go ahead and deprive of this. This is a great card earlier in the game. Whenever you trade, you count as if 2 tracks higher, but it is just going to go to MarsBot. And at this point, I'm going to be paying very careful attention strategically to where MarsBot is going to be going. So, right, it's going to advance on this track. It is going to discard one of these, but it's definitely going to advance on this track, which won't do anything. It's going to advance on the space track, which at the moment won't do anything. So we'll just kind of keep that in mind as we go through the other cards. In here, MarsBot has a whole mess of building tags and a space tag, so it's just going to draw one at random. Number 1, so a building tag is going to be a failed action. Another building tag is going to be a forest. Another space tag would be 4 victory points. So the question that I have to decide is, well, I think I'm going to take the building industries because it's -1 energy for +2 steel. So that's 1 more towards potentially winning that award. That is definitely the way to go for me. So then MarsBot, random draw, odd, So it is going to be getting a forest or a greenery tile in play. This will come to me. And the big question, of course, is which of these cards is it going to end up with? There are 6 of these special project cards still available in the deck. So, shuffling them up, it is going to get this one. We don't know what it is. It is going to have a shipping opportunity. That'll all get shuffled together. I'll decide what cards I want to keep. I do get to go first, and I do have my eyes on knocking these 2 tracks, but I don't think I have to worry about Marsbot getting a heat bump, but let's double check to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and keep Building Industries and Lunar Mining, paying 6 for those, discarding the other 2, and I go first. So definitely want to get a greenery tile into play to head Marsbot off there, so I can get the last bump here. So I will go ahead and spend 8 plants. Ideally, I'd get the lake in play first, but I do have another action I want to take that I make sure I go ahead of Marsbot. So I will go ahead and go here, which will give me the final bump here, as well as a bump here, as well as another plant. And then my next action is I want to lock down the decomposers, so I'm going to go ahead and go here. Plus Marsbot is at 3 tokens here, so that'll prevent Marsbot from getting another jump on that track. So I'll spend my 3 energy. I will be getting 4 microbe tags on this card here. Marsbot will be getting 1 over here. And so now with that done, Marsbot gets to go. Of course, there is the one chance it could draw the project where it just says draws 1 of these. That would be bad, potentially. But no, for now, it's just going to do a failed action, as it cannot grab a milestone. So again, back to me with 2 actions. So I just need to figure out what I want to beat Marsbot at. So definitely think I want to lock this into place for a few reasons. I'm going to go ahead and spend 8 to do a temperature bump. That's going to move me up 1. I am then going to get to play a lake. And while I have been building around up here, and I do plan on putting more stuff up here, I'm actually going to put the lake down here. And the reason I'm doing this is because of the tiebreakers on this board. I get 2 plans for that. On this particular map, the first tiebreaker Marsbot has is want to place next to ocean tiles. The next one would be next to special tiles. So if I were to play my ocean up here and then Marsbot is able to place a forest, it's going to put it over here or over here. But by doing this, Marsbot is now going to put it here, away from a special tile, helping me hopefully lock in the founder. That's my first action. For my second, I want to see what options I have, so I'm just going to go ahead and buy a card from the restricted area, and that is going to be, all right, Lake Mariners. Actually, good to know I've got that. That's pretty good, as I'd be able to get 2 more lakes into play. So let's... But that's both my actions. So now Marsbot is going to go, and it is going to do shipping lines. And at this point, it is going to go up here, which will give it 3 resources over here, which I don't mind. I also get a titanium out of that. So that actually wasn't even thinking about that, but that certainly worked out pretty well for me. Back to me. At this point, I do think I'm okay slow playing things a bit. I've dealt with the biggest things. I've baited Marsbot, hopefully into playing a greenery tile down there. So I will go ahead and just up my plant production. Coming back over to Marsbot. Marsbot has a space tag, which for the moment does not do anything. And again, then it is back over to me. So back to me at this point. I'm going to go ahead and play the subcrust measurements, which is going to cost me 18. And I can spend some of my steel, knocking it down to 12. And importantly, that gets me another earth tag in play, setting me up for higher titanium production. Now back to Marsbot again. Expedited construction. So it's looking to place a city tile adjacent to 2 or more greenery or ocean tiles. It's not going to be able to do that. So if it has 1 or 0 colonies, it builds one randomly. Otherwise, no effect. So that's just lucky for me. Yeah, it's a good thing I did not put down another lake down yet. So just kind of looking over the board again. Any place it can hit 2 tiles. Nope. And it's already got 2 colonies. So Marsbot is just going to discard this for no effect. I can go again, so I will continue to slow play by just drawing another card. That card is going to be a card I probably will not play, the Asteroid Hollowing. Once again, back to Marsbot. It is going to raise this track, which does not do anything because it's already been there, and then back to me. I think at this point I am going to go ahead and play the Lake Mariners, which is going to cost me 16. And let me get 2 lakes into play. We've only got 1 lake left, but Marsbot is not going to play it, so we will have... I could finish things off, but I think I'm in a better position to keep playing 1 more generation. So I'll go ahead, place a lake here, as well as a lake here, which is going to give me 4 plants and 2 mega credits. Not to mention 2 bumps on this track. Okay. Finally, Marsbot is going to finish off with a building tag, which is going to be that greenery that we knew it was going to place this round. And that greenery, again, it is, again, is next to its cities. And then the first tiebreaker is oceans, then special tiles. So it can go next to an ocean. It will go here. It will get 5 resources for that, but I can live with that. Especially since I know we're going to be able to end in Generation 10, so resources aren't worth quite as much as they could be. All right, and I still got plenty of stuff to spend, so I will go ahead and figure out what I want to spend where. All right, at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and put a few cards into play, starting with the Lunar Mining. That is going to cost me 9. So, all right. So the Lunar Mining, it is 1 titanium production for every 2 earth tags I have. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, effectively 7, 8. So I will get 4 titanium production. And that was a very timely draw. Get that into play. I'll go ahead and play the Moss, losing a plant tag, but gaining a plant production. That's going to cost me just 2. I will play Building Industries, which, and that's a plant tag, so that's going to give me another one here. Building Industries is going to just cost me 4 to play. Going to drop down 1 here, give myself a couple of steel production. I do still have plenty of money left. I could put a greenery tile into play, but I don't want to... If I put a greenery tile here, which is probably my best spot, that is a pretty enticing spot for Marsbot to put a city there. I'd rather put a city there. So I'm going to hold off, and we'll see what happens. I am going to have I think I'm going to have, 16 or 17 heat, so I'll be able to bump this up twice. So we're definitely going to a situation where, actually, I guess I could play a lake. All right, let me think this over. Yeah, so I was thinking lakes would run it out, but no, we've still got 4 more on the heat track, and so the temperature track. So I am going to go ahead and finally play this asteroid, which is going to cost me 14 to put into play, spending 9 using titanium, plus another 5 for just my second event, and I haven't played a single event until this round. That is going to give me, as I keep saying, lake, ocean. One of these days I'll get used to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there, giving another bump, 2 mega credits, a plant. And yeah, it occurs to me, if Marsbot puts a city here, I'll put a city here. So there are a couple of nice options. In terms of I think at this point, I'm not worried about winning the Zoologist Award. I'm already at 11. Marsbot is at 10, and I'm sitting on another 4 and in my hand. So, and I can always go here if need be. So I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 plants that could make the difference. We'll see. But that is everything I have for this, so we're going into what I assume will be the 10th and final generation. Boy, it is really coming down to the wire. This should be really interesting, as this is my stack. I've got an opportunity to get +2 production towards Mogul, so I'm absolutely going to draft that, which means Marsbot is going to take the Earth tag. It's going to be getting a lot of Earth tags this turn. That is its preference. Over here, again, another way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to put this into play, but that is another production I can get, which means this is then going to go here. So as of right now, Marsbot is going to get here a bump here, here, and here. Now looking at Marsbot's stack, I'm kind of loath to let it have 3 more Earth tags. However, there's another +2. These don't produce anything that'll help me on Mogul, so I think that's the direction I gotta go. All right, so Marsbot is going to take one of these at random. If I have a chance to take this away from it, it might be worth it. But I don't, because that's the one Marsbot took. So I will go ahead and go all out trying to take Mogul. So I'm going to go ahead and draft this, which means Marsbot is going to take the governor. This will come to me. And at this point, I'm definitely not going to do that. But I am going to keep all 3 cards that can potentially increase my Mogul status. So I'm keeping 3 cards. Marsbot has 3 cards with Earth tags, which means it is only going to discard this one. So that's that. We will get shipping lines and a random special project, and Marsbot gets to go first this generation, so we'll shuffle it all up, roll to see which one's going to be on top. It's number 2, and now Marsbot will lead off with an Earth tag and a Space tag, which will do plenty of stuff, as the Earth tag will bump this, which is 5 here, up to 53. The Space tag is another 4, up to 57. So, pretty rough, that card. I mean, it was going to go up on the Earth track anyway. There was nothing I was going to be able to do to stop that. So, it's an extra 4 points. Still 10-point turnaround if I can pull off Mogul. So, now just need to go through and figure out how I'm going to approach this endgame. I think I'm going to need to see all my cards that I'm going to be able to draw before I can fully figure this out. The one thing I know for sure that I want to do is bump the heat temperature twice. So I'll go ahead and do that with 2 actions, spending 16. And then Marsbot with Outer Systems Foothold. It builds a colony and gains 2 of the corresponding research. Builds a colony on a randomly selected colony tile where it doesn't have one and gains 2 of the corresponding resource to its shipping board. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. So it is going to go to Pluto, which is going to be just fine by me, as Marsbot will gain 2 resources on top of the 2 it already has, which is not enough to give it a bump anywhere. All right, for my action, I am going to go ahead and draw a card, which is going to be Convoy from Europa, which is useless as it puts a lake into play. I'm not going to spend 17 to draw a card, or 15, but Marsbot will now go ahead. Shipping lines, it's going to go to Io, which is the furthest advanced track, which is going to give it 2 more tokens here, not enough to gain a bump. So that is Marsbot's action. Coming back to me, I will go ahead and, why not? I'll just bump that up, down here, up 1 here, to 10. And then going back to Marsbot, there's the double Earth tag, so 1 and 2. That's going to be a failed action. Okay, that's it for the Governor and Marsbot. Again, coming back to me, I will go ahead and spend 2 to draw a card. That card is going to be a Martian Survey, which I cannot even play. So now it is Marsbot again. Yet another Earth tag. We saw that coming. Marsbot gets a double bump and will be able to play a city. At this point, I think it actually probably is going to put it up there in what is the best area for it. And maybe I could have headed things off at the pass, but it's late. I've been going for a long time, and maybe that's part of the advice of strategic play is to take breaks. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. But Marsbot will go up here because there are more tokens. It's going to gain 6. And also, let's not give Marsbot that. We'll do it there instead. So 6 here. Again, back to me. I'm just going to sell off the Martian Survey that I have no use for, letting Marsbot go with a building tag, which is just another failed action, so that now I have free reign to do everything that I want to do. So, let's get to work. First things first, this costs me 5 for the peroxide power, so I'll spend 4 plus 1 is 5, and drop me down 1 here, 2 up on the energy production track. Then, since we are up here temperature-wise, I can spend 14 to bring farming into play. 10 plus 4, which is going to give me 2 production here, but more importantly, 2 more production on the plant track up to 12, as well as 2 plants. I sure do have a lot of those. And also going to give me another microbe. Hey, I'm doing things a little out of order. I'm just kind of rushing through it. I'm just going to backtrack slightly. Before, I'm going to take back the peroxide power. I'm not going to undo everything, but you'll see why in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and go here, spending 3 energy, which is going to give me 4 steel. Never mind, doesn't even matter. I don't have to go back, because then I'm going to play Space Elevator, which cost me 25. There's 18, 20, 22, 24, plus 1 is 25 to get the Space Elevator into play, and then I can activate it to sell off my last steel for 5. So, and at that point, that gives me a titanium production. So now, right, that gets me up to 35 with the space elevator. Marsbot is at 36. So I am going to have to also go ahead and do this, spending 16, 6 to get this, actually 4 to get this into play. So this is the underground detonation. So I will spend 4 to get it into play, and then 10 to activate it, which will then give me 2 production here, getting me up to 37, and that was quite the effort to get there. I have locked up Mogul. As far as Zoologist, he's at 611, I'm at 12, so I've taken care of that. Founder, at a minimum, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Not sure if these count each other. It's either 4 or 6, but he's only got 2. So I have also taken care of Founder. I do have to end the generation. I have to by doing the terraforming, so just 2 standard projects. I will spend 28 to bump this up 2 more, which is going to give me 2 more bumps here. And then I'll go ahead, I can put a resource on a card, so I'll add another one here. That's free with my discount. All right, so last thing at this point is I can place greenery tiles, 24 plants, so even before we do production, I'll be able to put 3 greenery tiles down. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of places I can put them. I can go here, which only benefits me, but then the rest, I mean, I guess at this point I could go out this way, grab a couple of steel, I could draw another card, which is Migrant City, which we're definitely not going to play. But then at this point I would like to get this guy into play, worth quite a bit of points. Costs me 9, so there is 5. And I guess if I'd just done things in a different order, I could have played these first. I'd effectively I could have spent, when I was paying for the space elevator, I could have just spent this. So I still would have an additional 4, so 5 plus 4 is 9. That gets that into play. I mean, I also have cards I can sell off. I don't think it's going to matter. This is going to come into play. It is going to give me 3 more tokens here. And then at that point, I have 1 other card I could potentially play, but only 5 to sell off. It costs 9, so can't afford to play it anyway. Fell just short. But that is it, just from a production standpoint. So I would produce, the only thing that really matters here is I would produce 12 plants, which unfortunately I cannot get 2 additional plants. So I just get 1 more greenery tile in play. It doesn't really matter, but we'll keep this funky line going on. Drop it down here. Oops, that's Marsbot's. Marsbot is 1 away on 1 of its tracks, so it is going to advance on that track, and it'll put its greenery tile over here, which will give it 3 more of these bonuses. And at this point, we are ready to do final scoring. Okay, so we'll start with the milestones, where I have managed to claim 3 of them. So that's 15 points, going from 44 to 59. With the awards, Founder, at a minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4 touching. Could be 6 if these count each other, but again, Marsbot only has the 2. So I have 1 Founder. Mogul, they're at 36. I am at 13, 21, 28, 35, 37. So worked out perfectly. I managed to beat Marsbot there. And then the Zoologist is this track plus 5. So That is going to be 10, and I've got 16 here. So I have won all 3 awards. Perfect 6 for 6. Can't ask for anything better than that. Getting me up to 74. Marsbot is going to get the full allotment of 6 points from the neural instance, so we'll go ahead and give it that. Now counting greenery tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Marsbot, up to 70. Then for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as well, up to 81. All right, so now card points. Because I'm playing hard mode, Marsbot is going to get 1 point for each card that has victory points on it, regardless of how many are printed, as long as it's not -1. Those are ignored. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 additional points for Marsbot from 70 to 83. We can start moving some of this stuff out of the way. Don't need this board anymore. And now let's take a look at my card points. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, that's negative. 4, 6, 5. Do you like these negative points? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 there. Let me just 15, 17, bringing me up to 98. And then last but not least, 1 for every 3 microbes. I had 16, so that's going to be 5 points, getting me up to 103. And the moment of truth, Marsbot, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, plus 5 is 80, which is going to be 10 points because we did finish in Generation 10, bringing Marsbot from 83 to 93, and I have done it. All right, so I'm actually cutting into this video to update a few things because there were a bunch of things I missed scoring-wise after going back through the video. Little things I missed here and there. I'm going to update them right now. So first up, there was a point where I was supposed to give Marsbot an extra resource, so we'll do that. However, there was another point where I let Marsbot keep 4 cards. It didn't have the floaters it needed to do that. It should have discarded 1. It would have been a building tag, which was a failed action, so that had given it 5 resources, so we're going to take those away. I also never charged Marsbot for doing the shipping action, which does cost 1 every time it does it. It did it 9 times, so we're going to take away another 9 points. Now, Marsbot did, at one point, should have advanced twice on... I moved it back twice on this track. That was wrong. I should have instead taken away 2 plant resources and then given it 2 bumps. The first bump, in this case, gives it a forest, which cannot put next to an ocean, so it is going to want to put it next to a special tile, so it will go here. It will get an extra point for putting down a forest, and I guess if we're being honest, I think at that point it also would have gotten the oxygen bump. So +1 to Marsbot, -1 to me. Then on the next bump on there, that would have also resolved that, which would have given it a failed action, 5 tokens. It then would have moved up this track again 2 spaces from the double bump. At that point, I am still leading, so that would not have affected the award. So that's all the adjustments, and then I never counted city points. Well, one thing here, we're now at 65, 67. We're now at 70. It had been at 80, divided by 8 was 10 points. Now it's 70, so it only gets 8 points, so Marsbot loses 2 points from resources. Last but not least, cities. So we'll go through them. Marsbot gets 2 for that, 3 for that city, 3 for that city, another 3 for that city, and 2 for here, and finally 2 for here. For my city points, for here, I do get 2 points. For here, I get 3. And for this city, I get 2 points. So if I've worked out everything correctly the way it should have been, a lot closer. I beat Marsbot 109 to 108, but it is a victory. So at this point, I've gotten my vengeance. I have managed to beat Marsbot playing with Colonies, so now I can move on. I will give Turmoil a shot in my next video. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time.